Oh, okay. Good to know.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live stream. I'm Camille Weiner. I'm founder and CEO of Yodelpup Nonprofit Marketing. And I'm super excited today. I have invited Melissa Elick. She is the Director of Community Relations and Development at One Health Organization. And today she's going to talk about AI and how it's revolutionizing grant writing and fundraising for nonprofits. With 7+ years experience in the field, Melissa has great insights to offer, invaluable for anyone who's looking to boost their fundraising strategies and create more impact and by leveraging AI. So welcome, Melissa. I'm so happy to have you here today. Thank you for coming out and talking to us about your experience in using AI and specifically ChatGPT to assist your grant writing and fundraising activities. Do you want to just take a minute to say hi to our audience today?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Camille, for having me. I love this topic. AI is something that I've been working with for a little bit now, so I'm really excited to start the chat and hopefully give everyone some little takeaways that they can start implementing in their day to day.
Awesome. Let's get into it. I'm so excited about this too. And it's awesome to share this excitement and passion for learning about AI and just seeing how we can leverage it to make better impacts. So let's get the conversation started. Talk to us about how you've used ChatGPT to assist specifically in your proposal writing and fundraising processes.
Yeah, so ChatGPT was really the first AI tool that I started with because it's free, which is a great thing. And so a part of my job is grant writing, and it's not my entire job. So I am always trying to find ways where I can save some time. And ChatGPT has done that with proposal writing. So what people can do is input, and generate grant proposals based on content that you put in. So if you put your organization's mission in, programmatic outcomes, any type of data from your organization, it can craft those proposals for you. So just for example, if you wanted to do a needs statement, you would prompt ChatGPT by saying, hey, ChatGPT, I always like to say hi, be nice to the AI tools.
Yes.
Um, say, please, can you please
Mhm.
write me a needs statement for my organization? Please use X, Y, and Z impact statistics. This is our mission. And it's as simple as that. So once you input that data, it'll start generating. You can give it character limits as well. So if you need it to fit in, within 300 characters or 300 words, you can let ChatGPT know that, and it will perfectly put all that information together into your 300-word needs statement.
Yeah, isn't that nice? That sounds so streamlined.
Easy.
um, what if it just kind of a follow-up question, what if you get something generated and it doesn't fit perfectly within your needs statement? What do you do then?
So that's the thing with ChatGPT and AI tools. You sort of have to work with them a little bit. So
Mhm.
that's where AI can't solve everything, and where there really needs to be a human involved, because you're going to have to go back and play with wording. If they give you something that's completely off base, it may take a couple
Mhm.
more prompts. Sometimes when you put in too much information, the tool kind of gets overloaded, so you have to break it up.
Mhm.
So I always do things in small sections. Start small first, especially if you're a beginner with AI
Mhm.
and ChatGPT. You will have to kind of go back and reprompt, and that's okay. It's still a tool that you can use to just get started.
Mhm. Yeah. What are some of the considerations that people should keep in mind when they're using what other considerations should folks keep in mind when they're using this for grant writing? And you've also talked about using it in your email follow-ups, and I want to learn more about that too next.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know AI is kind of this hot topic, and everyone's kind of concerned with data privacy and, where is our information going when we input it. So I do think we need to be careful about what we're inputting into ChatGPT. It is a public, free source, so I wouldn't put any donor data in there. Names, addresses, giving history. It really should be, a blank template. So that's one thing to think about. And then also, as I kind of just mentioned about having to kind of play with the prompts, you always want to go back and reread and just put your organization's voice, use your language. It may not get it perfect, but that's where you have to go in and really pay attention to, what type of voice is being used in that language. And that kind of goes right into the email. So with
Hmm.
emails, it's typically a very personal touch, right? So you might
Hmm.
think, how can AI generate emails for me? But that's where, when I'm meeting with donors or I'm having a busy week and there's multiple meetings I'm having, I love to do follow up. I think it's an important part of building those relationships, but it takes time to kind of sit down and think about that email. And then you have to think back, oh, what did we talk about? So you can use ChatGPT to formulate an email for you. So you just put in, maybe one line about what you talked about in the meeting and ask it to generate an email that was used for follow up for this meeting. And copy, paste, put your personal details in, and you have a great follow up template.
That's great. Do you ever put any information in about not the person specifically, because you talked about not putting specific donor personal information in there, but do you ever prompt Chat GPT or give Chat GPT some information about that persona in general?
Absolutely. And so I'm glad you brought up personas because I think it is an important part just in nonprofits in general to have a donor persona, build that out. And
Mhm.
if you don't know what that is or where to start, ChatGPT can actually do that for you. So, what you
Mhm.
can do is go in and give a few details of characteristics of your donor. So, for me, that's a donor is an animal lover. They're active in the community, so you can build that out and put into ChatGPT. Please write me an appeal letter to an animal lover who loves cats. They are very active in their community. They volunteer at a local shelter, and then it can use that information, that donor persona, to build that more personalized touch.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. What have been the biggest benefits of doing this with both grant writing and follow-up emails?
I think it's the time, the time management, the time that I get back. Again, you do still have to put, work into the prompts. However, there's so many times where I've sat down to write a grant or get an email and I'm kind of stumped and I'm twiddling my pen or Google searching or getting
Mhm.
distracted. But with ChatGPT, I just really find that it gives me a template. It gives me something to work with. Sometimes you just need a few words on the page to get you going. So the time management, it has been incredible.
Mhm. Yeah, it sounds like it not just for the time, but it kinda helps you keep focused and keep you on track with your task. Like you said, it's, like,
Absolutely.
kinda hard to stare at a blank, page, and when you're trying to, like, write content, especially for different types of personas. So it sounds like it really helps kinda keep you focused and, keep that creative process going.
Yes, and especially, my role is community relations and its development. So I'm wearing a lot of different hats, and I know there are so many
Mhm.
nonprofit professionals out there who are also doing multiple types of jobs. So it really does help you across the board. And then in one area where you can save time, you can put more energy into face to face, or maybe even getting that extra grant done because you took less time on one.
Right, exactly. Do you have any kind of success stories or even snippets that you can share about kind of the success or the ahas that you've had in using AI for grant writing and fundraising?
Sure. So, I mean, it goes right along with the saving of time, but just
Mhm.
recently I was writing a proposal that I have written kind of the same one the past 3 years, and I really wanted to do something different without changing too much to risk anything. Sometimes you like to keep
Mm-hmm.
consistency. So what I did was went to Chat GPT and I entered in, a couple of the paragraphs, and I simply said, "Can you please enhance this section to, make it increase readability, put in, some, make it interesting to read." And
Mm-hmm.
it revamped it. I had to go back in and kind of work things around, but it again just, had the juices flowing, gave a little bit of inspiration to something. So I love that I was able to do that. In a proposal that I've been writing for years and give it a new voice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, breathing fresh air, fresh, energy into things that you've been doing repeatedly for so long.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. You mentioned putting in different voice and training ChatGPT on your organization, on your personas. Where do you get those? Do you have kind of a system in place, or other documents that maybe you use to grab some of that, or are you just kind of knowing as much as you do about your organization? Are you just kind of putting it in there as you're thinking about it?
So that's a great question. There are so many ways that you can keep track of, the things that you're inputting into Chat GPT. So one of them, is the website in our annual report. So it kind of
Mhm.
brings it full circle back to the privacy. You always want to use public information when you're inputting. So things from your website, your annual report can be really helpful. So those are two kind of spaces I go for information. A lot can be done just with your mission statement, or if
Mhm.
you have any, even internal goals that you've set, you can implement those as well.
Mhm.
And so those are good sources for organizations specifically. And then also the personas. So I know we've done a lot of work with you, Yodelpop, on building out those personas, and we have PowerPoint slides of our personas that document, exactly who this donor is. And it's using those keywords. So anytime I am going to build out an appeal or proposal, I'll bring up that slide and I'll use those keywords that we've already identified to start crafting that letter or that email, that message. And I find that is extremely helpful.
Yeah, so for the website, you mentioned going to your organization's website and actually taking some of the messaging off of there. Do you like go there, copy and paste, find the right page, or how do you get that information into your ChatGPT?
Yeah, so it's as simple as copy and paste going to the website. Sometimes I'll keep it really general and just get information from the home page, copying and pasting the website link. Or, some organizations will have an About Me page, or a page just for impact statistics. And you can give that direct link right into ChatGPT so it knows exactly what statistics you want to pull out, which is
Mm-hmm.
really cool.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And I have a question about, I know a lot of organizations are dealing with this right now in terms of the skepticism around AI, and nervousness about using it within the organization. Obviously, the privacy issues, which you've spoken to. Um, what's the kind of culture in your organization, or kind of the attitude in your organization? And here's a question: what do others how does your executive director feel about you using AI? And I'm imagining you've discussed it, and what's that been like?
Yeah, it's definitely important to discuss with your leadership, discuss with your coworkers about what we're using. We all want to be on the same page. And for me personally, our CEO, our founder, she is one of those people who will just jump right in and try the new technology, which is one of the things I love about working with Dr. Anna and One Health Organization. And it's really just having that mindset of growth
Mhm.
and an interest, just a curiosity. So she definitely embodies that, and our organization embodies that. So I think in organizations where you do have a little bit of that freedom to explore new tools, especially when they're free, you might as well.
Mhm.
There's really no
Right.
harm in just trying it out. Especially Chat GPT, you can sign up for an account, through your Gmail and just play around with it. It's not something you are investing a ton of money in. There are systems that you can, but just getting started, just try it out. And like I said, using just some simple prompts, trying it out for email. If you don't want to do something as big as for a grant, because that's obviously, you have money on the table and that can be maybe a little nerve wracking, but try it for an email, internally with your coworkers.
Yeah, so starting small, it sounds like is a good way to kind of reduce any of that intimidation around it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is interesting. I was just at a fundraising event. It was like a conference last week, and there was a question to the audience, how many of you are using AI in your day to day? And I was surprised that there were only a few hands raised. So,
Mm. Hmm.
I think it's still kind of creeping its way into the nonprofit sector.
Hmm.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
I think sometimes in nonprofit, we are the last ones to catch on sometimes, and start using these tools. So I'm a big proponent of just trying it out and trying to integrate these tools into
yeah.
nonprofit.
Yeah, I think that's great, Melissa. That's what one of the reasons I wanted to have you as a guest today is because you're an advocate for this. You're an advocate for that growth mindset in an organization. Because I really think it should be flipped. It should be the other way around. I think nonprofits should be leading, the sort of the business world because that's where the most need for impact is with nonprofit organizations. And so I think that switching that paradigm of that thinking of like, no, we need to be the leaders, we need to be innovating and trying new things because it's up to us to make this social impact. So I just love that attitude, and I love the culture of One Health Organization and the fact that you are all on the same page when it comes to that growth mindset and the curiosity. I think the learning environment is so important. Um, speaking of using ChatGPT and starting out small, would you like to share a little bit with us your process when you are using ChatGPT and starting to do your prompting?
Sure, I'd love to share my screen and maybe do a little
All right.
practice prompt.
All right, let's get that set up. I'm going to hide myself. I'm going to show your screen here. And yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, go right ahead. Take it away, Melissa.
All right. So, like I said, I always like to be polite with the technology. So I'll just say hello,
Do you want to say
chat.
a little bit about that? I wanted to ask you that. What's your thinking behind, the politeness?
So I was talking with someone who actually introduced me to ChatGPT, and they said the nicer you are, you know, to the AI, the more it wants to help you. I don't know how accurate that is behind the scenes, but it's kind of similar to Alexa. If you've ever maybe gotten an attitude with Alexa when she didn't play the right song, and then you kind of
Hmm.
snapped, and then you realize, oh, she's not answering me now. I think there might be some play on that, but you just
Yeah.
never know.
Well, I
It's
think
kind of a
it's like,
silly thing.
yeah. Well, I also think it's like, I mean, to me, AI is like having a superpowered team member, right? And so, not to make it human because it's not a human thing, but still, it's we're collaborating and we're working with it. So I think it. I agree with you. I think it's best to treat it like we would any other team member.
Absolutely. So that's why I'm going to say, please, oops, I'm going to say, please write a needs statement for a grant proposal for the non-profit One Health organization. And then this is where I'm just going to give a little bit of background. And it looks like my caps was on. That always happens when you're typing live, of course. But I'll just leave it. That's not going to affect anything. And then I'll just go into a little bit about the nonprofit. Again, just giving it as much information as we need to. So we are a nonprofit whose mission is to help low income people access veterinary care for their pets. And then I'm going to direct ChatGPT to our website just to give some more information. And again, for ease, I don't have to type out everything. It can just go to our website. So I'll say use information from the website onhealth.org. We are lucky we have a pretty simple, direct website. And then I also want to prompt ChatGPT to use less than 500 characters because this is going to a grant proposal. So
Mm-hmm.
this is limited sometimes. So I'll say use less than 500 characters and make the needs statement compelling and interesting to read. Thank you. All right, and let's see what we have here. So this is a great example. So despite the profound bond between pets and their owners, many low-income families struggle to afford essential veterinary care, jeopardizing both animal welfare and public health. So I won't read the entire thing, but that's a great
Mm-hmm.
sentence. I couldn't have written it better myself. Um, And then, as the only nonprofit of its kind in our region, the demand for our services consistently outweighs our capacity, again, expressing that need. With rising pet ownership and economic challenges, there's an urgent need to expand our region resources. So
Mm-hmm.
I really like what this has built out for us as a start. There are some things that I would change.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as a nonprofit of its kind, the only nonprofit, we have a lot of other fantastic, organizations that we collaborate with. So I would maybe change that language. Um, and I would actually probably add more specific statistics. So something from our most recent needs assessment, again, that our website doesn't have, but is information that we'll be releasing, but it doesn't have that. So those are just two little ways that I would put my personal touch on it. But instead of having to start from scratch, I now
Mm-hmm.
have, something to work with and input those personalizations in.
So even though you're having to spend some time prompting and thinking of the right, things to put into prompt, and then afterwards you're taking it and you're, maybe double checking facts, statistics, or adding statistics and changing around some of the wording. Do you still feel like it's a time saver?
Absolutely. And I think it kind of speaks to why Chat GPT and other AI tools will never truly replace people or fundraisers because
Hmm.
again, it's bringing that personal experience. And even though I did just have to, spend a couple minutes looking at it and then I'll have to look up the right statistic that I want, then I might sit and think on it a little bit and, move some things around. But if I had started this from the beginning, we would be on this call for maybe like 40 minutes, possibly
Hmm.
even longer. A needs statement is one of the most important parts of a grant proposal. It's usually your introduction and you're stating why your nonprofit needs the funding. So it's really something that takes a long time. And
Hmm.
having just this one paragraph set the stage is so helpful.
Yeah, and that took you all of maybe 20 seconds or 30 seconds to do that, just to get yourself at least something. And if we would have been on here, I would imagine asking you to write a needs statement from scratch, you would probably feel under, if you're anything like me, you'd feel like pressure, right? And a little bit of, you know, uh, yeah, just pressure and like, kind of being on stage and
Absolutely.
I love how you just seem so pretty relaxed and confident, that you were going to get what you needed. What if you didn't quite exactly get what you needed with that statement? I mean, you've talked about changing some words and maybe adding some statistics, but what if it wasn't quite the right tone? And you didn't want to have to rewrite it yourself with the right tone. What would you do next with this chat?
Sure, I love that question. So, I'm actually just going to copy and paste my original prompt, paste it back into here, and then I'm going to change a few things. So, if I read this and I was like, you know what, this sounds too serious. I don't like some of this language that's being used. I'm going to change these last couple words here. So um, instead of compelling, I'm going to say fun. And instead of interesting, how about light-hearted? And if I thought, this actually is probably too many to fit in this space, so I'm going to reduce this to 200. And let's see what we get.
I'm just amazed at how quickly it generates,
I
you
know.
know?
And look at this little emoji. It will even add emojis for you. So, I mean, I know we didn't get into this and it's not kind of outside of fundraising, but also for social media, if you're a social media manager or you're, on the fly at an event and you need to come up with a quick caption, it will actually put hashtags and emojis in there for you. So
Yeah, right?
it's
I
actually
mean,
really cool.
so cool. I mean, don't even get me started. I mean, social media, other content, it's just so great. And yet it's to your point, and I think this is such a big takeaway. It's like I've used it a lot for social media and other content. I'm kind of like both in experimentation phase because aren't we all?
Yes.
While also like leveraging it to actually, um, get my content out there. I've still I have to use my own, I call it heart and soul, and passion. Like we're putting our human heart and soul into it. And that it doesn't it's not like we're sitting back, just like, letting someone else do the work. It's like you still have to really do the work. It's just why not leverage the, you know, efficiency of it?
I
Again,
think
you've already edited your needs statement, once or twice, and it's only been, less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, and you said the right word, efficiency. That's what it is. Is
Hmm.
it's really streamlining these day-to-day behind the scenes things that I think fundraisers have to do, like the writing or editing, the emails. And I know personally, I love to be around people. I love going to the event. I love going to grab coffee with a donor or a new prospect. So that's where I want my time and energy to be. I enjoy, doing these things too. But when I can say, oh my gosh, I now have more time to set up that coffee or give a thank you call to someone, that really kind of brings it full circle into why I think this is so
Hmm.
important for nonprofit professionals, fundraising or otherwise, to really use.
Absolutely. It gives us more time to, like you said, to, be spending time on the things where we can really bring our human touch and connection into the work. I love that. Um, so I will just share your screen for a few more seconds here because I just wanted to point out to our audience. Melissa is using ChatGPT 3.5, which is actually the free version. So there are free tools out there that you can pick up and start experimenting with. And, ChatGPT will pretty much tell you anything. So if you have questions about what you're prompting and what you're doing, like how is this shared? How is this data shared and things like that? Just ask. It will tell you exactly, what the timeline of its training for that specific version of ChatGPT. You'll be guided along the way if you haven't started to use it yet. I think both Melissa and I just want to encourage everyone, just go ahead and get in there and experiment. It's your choice of what you want to try it with because you can try it. You could ask it about a recipe, or you can keep it really light and polite and not get deep into your organization's work right away. And it's a great way to experiment with it. And then when you get into the paid versions, which you can save that for later once your organization starts to adopt this process more and more, you can kind of get more advanced. And no, Melissa and I even talked earlier about even more advanced data tools, that paid data tools and things like that you can get into, where you do have a more private environment where you can still leverage AI to help with things like data. And I'm getting more and more into experimenting myself with the efficiency around data, and I'm really excited about that. How much time it can save just processing data, say out of HubSpot. I've been using it to, which is the all-in-one marketing tool that I know One Health uses and YodlePop uses, and we can get data out of there and ask ChatGPT. That's what it's best at, is processing data. And so to be able to, that's kind of the basis of how it's built, is data processing. So of course it's awesome at processing data, and that's another way that we can really save time, because that data can give us so much insight into our work, so that you can take that insight and put that into your work with grant writing and fundraising and any all donor communication. So I think there's just a lot of possibilities. What do you think, Melissa? Do you see a lot of potential for AI to continue enhancing fundraising and donor management?
Absolutely. I think this is definitely something that's here to stay, and I think it's only going to get better. And I do love the idea of the paid tools, especially if you're a larger nonprofit and you have tons of donor data. It is, really kind of smart to invest in a technology that's going to take that data and streamline it for you. So, and even if you're using HubSpot, I think we don't realize we're already kind of using AI when we ask our CRMs or our databases to pull together reports. It's just taking it the step further and asking it to analyze it for you. So I think that is the big next step, is when more nonprofits are going to be integrating these paid tools into their work, and they should. I would love to see some grant opportunities out there that want to help nonprofits pay for that. Again, when we start talking about nonprofits and the
Yes.
access to some of these tools, right now I'm kind of looking out for some opportunities for that, because I would love for us to get our hands on that data analysis tool to do our donor database.
Oh boy, this sounds like a conversation we should take offline and continue for sure. I love that idea.
Yes.
Love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Melissa, for joining us today. This has been awesome. I'm super excited to see, how your organization is going to keep developing using AI. And as I would imagine, you're probably going to be getting systems in place and kind of getting deeper into that adoption. And so I can't wait to see how that works for your organization. And congratulations on being one of the pioneers in the nonprofit sector and in your organization for, really leveraging these tools for good. I'm really excited about that. And I just, for our viewers, if you're interested to learn more about Melissa, you can of course go to LinkedIn and see Melissa Elick there. Or the organization that Melissa works for, One Health organization, and that's at onehealth.org. And if you are a pet parent or just love animals, you can sign up for their newsletter. I'm going to put that link in the chat for you into the comments. If you feel inspired by what One Health organization does, please leave a donation. There's plenty of opportunities on the website to leave a donation. It's very important work they're doing there. And they're modeling a fantastic model for regional support of pet parents. And so, go there, check it out. It's a great way to, get more awareness on what's going on for pet parents and the work that's being done for pets and their pet owners, and how veterinarians are helping as well. And as far as YodlePop, if you're interested to learn more about how you can get the most out of your nonprofit marketing efforts with us, you can visit us at YodlePop. That's YODELPOP.com. You can also subscribe to our newsletter as well, where we share lots of tips and stories about nonprofit marketing. And I will put that in the comments as well. And again, thank you so much for joining us, Melissa, today. This was a really awesome conversation, and I hope we can do it again.